We humans are what we eat, what we think, and what we drink. What have we been eating today? What have we been putting in our bodies? This is the only body that we will have. So, what have we been putting in it? Do we care about our bodies? How do we show our bodies that we appreciate all of the magnificent work that it does? Do we feed our bodies foods that are chemically laden, that are genetically modified? Do we drink water that has a high quality? Do we drink water that is filled with toxins? Do we drink water that is filled with chemicals? How are we treating our bodies? We will not get another body in this lifetime, most likely. Some may, and some may not. But since we have these bodies and we're stuck with them right now, we should be very mindful as to what we put in them. The foods that we eat are horrific at this point. We should all attempt to at least eat 80% of good quality organic foods. The fields and the earth has been depleted of its nutrients, so the plants and the vegetables that grow up out of them are not fully nutritious as they used to be decades ago. Today, the food that we eat that is laden with chemicals poured into our bodies, it goes against every cell in our body, and it helps our bodies devolve into a diseased state. The water that we drink, and especially if we drink water out of plastic bottles that carry BPA in the plastic, the BPA leaches into the water and we drink some very unsafe water. BPA has been deemed dangerous to the human body. And when we leave these plastic bottles in our vehicles, our cars, and the sun penetrates, it causes the BPA to even leak more chemicals into the water that we drink. So our food and our water are two mainstays that we need to be extremely mindful of. The meat that we eat, if you are a meat eater, the meats have been pumped with steroids and hormones. And when we intake the hormones of the meat, it goes against our natural hormones that are human hormones. And the steroids help pump up the body and make our bodies big. And we wonder why we cannot lose weight, because we're constantly refeeding our body steroids that keep pumping us up as you try to diet, exercise, and you just cannot release the weight. We have to be more mindful. Our bodies are filled with toxins, filled with sugars. The sugars that we have, they are known to damage the vessels in the body and every system in the body. Even our alternative sugars cause much damage to the body. They affect the nervous system. We must find foods that are of a high quality so that we can be the magnificent beings that we were created to be. So if our minds have been programmed and encrypted, and our bodies have been pumped with steroids and all other chemicals that we cannot even name, we do not know who we are anymore. So if our minds are no longer ours, and our bodies are being created by an outside force and placing our bodies in an unnatural place, what about our spiritual self? When God created mankind, initially, we were created with everything that we need inside of us. It was innately placed in us. But today, and centuries ago, we have given our spiritual self to another person outside of ourselves to mold us and to reshape who God created us to be. Our thinking, our minds have been changed. So therefore, we don't even know how to think. We go to these public schools and they educate us and our children on what to think. And most of it is based on lies and untruths. So now we believe these lies and we believe these untruths and we speak them as if they're true. We have lost our true selves. We have become inauthentic beings. It happens so subtly and it has creeped upon us. So, what can we do and what should we do to change it? We can change our minds by changing the way we think. These universities and higher places or higher institutions that are supposed to provide us with an education, that's all they do. They educate you. There's no wisdom in its walls. You learn never how to think. You only learn what to think. We must learn how to think so that we can think about everything that comes out of our mouth and what goes into our mouth. The powers that be are in competition to take hold of our minds. This is why $1 billion is spent, over $1 billion, to advertise to humans so that they can captivate our minds and program our minds in different ways of thinking. We must wake up and take charge of our minds, our bodies, and then our own soul's development. We must return to becoming authentic human beings, because as long as we are living under the illusions and the lies of those who have taught and programmed us, we are no longer authentic. Our soul is our true self. And if we give our soul no credence, no attention, the powers of the soul would never reach the heights that it was deemed to reach. And the powers that be, they know this. This is why they have created organized religion, to organize humans that they may be able to control us. If one controls a man's spirit or his soul, he can control the man. And if one controls a human's mind, he can control the man. And if one can control what enters into the physical body, that person or that entity can control the body. So if our minds have been controlled and our bodies being controlled and our souls being controlled, who are we? Where did we lose our control? We must wake up, and it is getting very late. We must wake up that we can take charge and control of the totality of ourselves. It is time, people, that we should do this. And who can do it other than ourselves? We must begin to teach ourselves how to think, to study the functions of the brain, that we will know what aspects of the brain are necessary for us to move forward. And if we don't use certain parts of our brain, they're like a muscle. They become dormant, and they are no longer useful. Just as a man who does not exercise a muscle may not be able to walk, a person that does not exercise every aspect of their brain will never be able to think to the fullness. We must begin to exercise every aspect of ourselves and take charge of ourselves now. If we do not do it now, the powers that be will just step up their technology, which they're doing every day, stepping up the technology to control us humans, control the masses, control the way we think, and we will be okay with what we eat. They can feed us anything if they have our minds, and they can tell us anything and control anything if they have control of our spirit. If a man knows exactly how you feel about your soul, he can manipulate you and your soul through you. We must begin to take charge of our mind and begin to delete the old programming and begin to program ourselves. Have a great day, because I am reprogramming myself every day, and you should.